Screenplay koozie for you to enjoy. Hey everybody, you're watching our Yuletide celebration of movies, otherwise known as Screenplay, the Christmas edition. I'm joined by Xmas. You took the Christ right out of Christmas, Gus.
Yeah.
He's so proud of himself.
We got Mr. Jon Risinger, Brandon Farmahini, Gustavo Sorola. Thanks for coming by, guys.
Yeah. I'm glad to be. You got to introduce yourself.
Oh, and I'm JJ. I'm
as always, in the anchor seat.
There
JJ.
you go. And we have our lovely assistant, beautiful as always. Today we have a special guest. It is Mr. Clayton DeWet in the video store.
How's it going, guys?
There you go, Clayton. Ow! Bow chicka wow wow. Lady boners.
Well,
Is nobody recording audio this episode?
We can move the board out there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
we built a robot.
All right.
it's Christmas week here at Rooster Teeth, so it seems like everyone's gone for the most part.
The Monday meeting was pretty sparse.
Yeah.
So do you want to preface this by saying that
It's pre-taped?
Yeah.
We can. Yeah, it is pre-taped. I was gonna let people just tweet us for at least a half hour before letting them know.
just saving them some tweets, saving them some ones and zeros in case it adds up to their data overage.
There you go. But we will still be checking the tweets while this is going live. At least I will. So feel free to tweet us either way at RT Screenplay, and then you can always leave comments if you're watching this later. Clayton, I know this is all pre-taped, but we are doing a quote of the week. So let us know what that is.
All right, the quote of the week this week is, "Sorry, boss, there's only two men I trust. One of them's me, the other's not you."
All right, since there is no...
That doesn't sound familiar at all.
Tweet if you know it, but let's try to figure this out
No.
because this is pre-taped. Does anyone know what that is?
What
I don't know,
movie
no.
has a boss?
Clayton, can you give us a
Kill
hint?
Bill?
Can I give you a hint? We had a special guest on a few weeks ago talking about the actor that said it.
Oh, Nicolas Cage. So it's Nicolas Cage movie. Is it The Weatherman?
No, he was too much of a lame-o for that, right?
It might have
was
been
too much
like
of a pushover.
what was that movie? The one with the Lord of War?
Oh yeah, the one Jared Leto.
Let's just go through Nicolas
one
Cage
with
movies.
the he's
That's
in the
what
airplane.
the hour's
Con
gonna
Air.
be.
Let's name
an hour
every
of
Nicolas
talking
Cage
about
movie
Nick
you can
Cage.
name. Bad Lieutenant.
Is it Con Air?
I think Brandon's got it. We got a winner.
Con Air.
Yeah.
Phew.
Well,
I was like, I need to imagine the voice.
what
Like
does he
how
say?
you-
Put
It's
down the
really
bunny.
hard to read it without an accent. It's really hard to read it without the accent.
And just a really quick shout out to Clayton because he is our sound guy extraordinaire. He does a lot of sound on a lot of our animated shows as well as our live action shows as well as the broadcast. And he's also a huge movie buff himself. So I talk to him about movies all the time.
It's about 90% of our conversations.
There we go.
I'd
Sweet
say.
Mastodon shirt,
What's
by
the
the
other
way.
10%?
Mastodon.
Mastodon. Love metal. All right, so we always start off every week talking about, is there anything you guys saw this weekend or recently that you want to chat about?
Well, I was saying I don't know if I could talk about this. Gus, you were pushing me to. I saw Wild, and I can't imagine any movie that I relate to less, and that's why I wasn't sure to bring it up.
What is Wild? I don't even know if I know
Reese
what that is.
Witherspoon movie. It looks like
It's her Oscar bait.
It's like Into the Wild, but with Reese Witherspoon. That's the gist I
You
got
are a
from
pro,
it.
Gus.
See, yeah.
I try to do that. Now that you're here, I feel like I can just think, whatever comes to mind. Yeah, Wild is Reese Witherspoon, and she is hiking basically from California, the southern tip of California, to the border, the Canadian border.
Okay.
And
That's
she's
a long walk.
Yeah, that's a long walk, and she's doing it herself.
Based on a true story.
Is it?
Isn't it?
I'm not sure.
Clayton,
just
is that
say it.
based on a true story? I think it is.
Whatever.
I'm not saying that.
I'm looking it up right now.
Someone's got to have done that.
I'm not saying like you have to relate to every movie and every character. Like it's not like I'm a convict flying home in a plane to see my family.
But you are.
But there's certain aspects of
picture
that
that.
character, Nicolas Cage from Con Air, I can relate to. But
Did you just say you totally
there are
can
small
relate
things. There are obviously always small things, but every single nuance of Reese Witherspoon in that movie, everything she's gone through in her family background, I don't know. I just
Was
can't.
it like watching an alien to you, like someone who's like not even human?
I
or
get
you, they're
I
not
get
human?
aliens.
Okay.
I get being different and not getting along with people. I get that.
Trying to exterminate
But
humans.
I get
my
that for you, too.
girlfriend loved it, and I imagine that might be the common trend. But I think the cool thing about it is I looked at the Rotten Tomatoes score. And Rotten Tomatoes is great because it shows you the critic rating and the audience rating. And that was a movie where the audience rating was lower than the critic, and I get
Interesting.
that because I was watching it and I was like, I understand this movie is very good, but I'm not necessarily like super enjoying it. So I think it's always cool to compare those two things. Like with dumb comedies, usually the critic rating is lower and then the audience is higher.
Did it make you want to like hike cross country?
Fuck no.
Oh, what is it? Is it just like her getting attacked by wild animals?
No, it's nothing crazy. It's more
like a spiritual journey kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it's like a
that sounds
spiritual
boring.
journey.
Yeah.
And she
Totally
leaves
sounds
quotes every now and then.
Wait. Sorry. What about quotes?
She leaves like a quote like for other people to find.
What do you mean she leaves?
Like there's like a little bulletin board or whatever, and she like leaves a quote or like a little box, and then like every quote is kind of what she's going
You're gonna make
through,
me watch
like
this damn movie now.
metaphorically.
Well, it is one of the ones that's on the like everyone's saying like look for it in the Oscars.
Yeah,
like,
it's
this'll be-
very
Oscar bait.
bait. It's super Oscar
Did she
bait.
get stopped by a cop and she's like, "Do you know who I am? I'm famous."
That's because she did that. Gus is making a Reese Witherspoon joke.
She's a drunk.
Well, you know what's crazy about Reese Witherspoon is that
Reese Witherspoon?
Reese. Oh God, I say names wrong all the time. I know this because YouTube lets me know that I say names. Apparently, did I say Jared Leto? I called him Jared Leto, or I don't know, whatever.
Which one's the right way?
How do you say Is it Gyllenhaal or Gyllenhaal? Who gives a shit? So
I'd go with
okay,
that.
what's
He
interesting
said
about
in interviews that the appropriate pronunciation is it's like yelling hello. So yelling hello.
I'm not doing that.
Wait,
Fuck
It's his
that.
actual pronunciation.
Besides that, did you ever answer? Is it based on a true story?
It is based on
Your job, Clayton.
it is based on the memoir by Cheryl Strayed, who actually did do the journey.
Oh, so it's actually based on Push by the author Sapphire.
On that subject, though, she has a lot of traumatic stuff that she's gone through in her life. So,
so it's
a
a
big
little-
part
it's
of
like
it is her walking this trail and flashbacks. So you kind of see, the things she went through, and she's had a lot of bad things happen to her. But a cool thing in the movie is she's actually done a lot of bad things to other people.
Yeah.
So it's not just trying to create a single character that's super sympathetic, but actually has done a couple crappy things.
Would you say it's a white girl version of Precious? Could we put that on the
No,
poster?
it's not
Brandon
that bad.
Farmahini.
Are you
it's
holding
Precious
two
with the
beers?
white girl? Cause I fucking can. All right, because I'm a grown up
Just why are you holding two
and I had
beers?
beer for breakfast with my cereal. I don't give a shit. I'm in a downward spiral.
Everyone likes Spurios.
Didn't you guys see the Skeleton Twins?
Oh, yeah, I did
it
see
was
the
the
Skeleton
movie
Twins.
with Bill Hader and
Kristen
Oh,
Wiig.
Kristen
I've
Wiig
been meaning
from
to watch it. I
SNL.
heard
That
good
was
things.
when we got to me, that was going to be the movie that that I just saw.
how'd you like it?
I just watched Skeleton
What'd you
Twins.
think?
I thought it was good, but I felt like all the best moments were ruined in the trailer. I felt like
really?
if I had not seen the trailer, I would have liked the movie a lot better. There's still some good stuff. And the movie didn't end the way I wanted it to end. Obviously, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but I wish the movie had ended. You're going to spill. I wish the movie had ended a slightly different way.
It's kind of tough because you don't have to like someone as a person in order to enjoy a movie. Like Walter White's a horrible human being, but it's cool. Like you do connect with him. The Kristen Wiig and Bill Hader, I thought were the worst people in the world. And as I was watching this, their characters, I was just like,
They're characters.
They're characters.
Oh.
I was just like,
why do
man,
you hate Bill Hader?
I don't like any of you guys. I think you're both bad. Nothing about what you're doing is redeeming. I don't care about this. What you're going through.
Well, Bill Hader really, he's great, but he really needs a vehicle that can kind of set him apart because did you guys watch the James Franco roast on Comedy Central? Was Jonah Hill ripped into him and it was so funny, but because like Bill Hader was part of that whole Andy Samberg, Kristen Wiig group that eventually left SNL at that time.
Right.
And then so Jonah Hill was like, yeah, and Bill Hader, you showed the industry, you left SNL and you were like, I'm going to do it on my own. And now you're doing the voice for those Peanuts commercials, like the Planners guy. So it's kind of like, so they're kind of knocking on him, but he's yet to kind of hit that stride out of SNL.
Yeah, it's funny. He hosted SNL like just over a year after he left.
That's weird.
And it was like one of the lowest rated SNL because I think people watch it. They're like, oh, I thought this guy left. I guess he's still on the show.
Yeah, because Bill Hader he's like such a great like supporting character, and he's so good. He's kind of reminds me of Phil Hartman and Daryl Hammond because he's amazing with impressions, like Bill Hader. So it's kind of tough to rely on him to be the host. It's a little weird.
He does guest voices on Bob's Burgers every now and then.
Yeah.
And I like it.
does.
Oh, I mean, he's a great vocal actor. You know what's interesting is that I don't know if Bill Murray's ever came back and hosted, but I know that Dan Aykroyd has said he never wants to host. That's why whenever Dan Aykroyd shows up as
It's just a cameo.
he's always like the Bears. He'll jump in, but he never wants to host. He says it's way more fun just being part of the rotating cast.
I can see that.
So movies I saw this week. I finally fucking saw Skyfall. which is like,
you not seen it?
I'd not
Wow.
seen it. And the thing is, I love Sam Mendes. Like, I love Road to Perdition. I love American Beauty. I love that Away We Go, that movie he did with John Krasinski and stuff. I found it really interesting. It's just, like, I always make fun of people that like see a movie way too late. They're like, I want to talk about Heat right now. You know? But I loved the movie in general. It was a little long-winded for a James Bond movie, but I did enjoy how Sam Mendes was able to stick a Sam Mendes movie in the middle of Skyfall, or towards the end. Have you guys seen the movie?
Yes.
Oh, there's a scene whenever James Bond goes back to his childhood home, and it's kind of like an origin kind of story thing. But like you have like this old like groundskeeper character, and like and like there's like this funny there's this funny relationship between them. They're dynamic, and I was like, this is such like a Sam Mendes movie, like between these two characters, and it was very unlike a James Bond movie. I enjoyed it. I was talking to Daniel Fabello, one of our editors, and he said that's the moment in the movie that he hated. But I enjoy when filmmakers that aren't action filmmakers do action movies, like Sam Mendes for one, and I love Rian Johnson, who he did Brothers Bloom. He gets the next Star Wars movies, but he's really artsy. So when they do action, it's like it's stylistic instead of just explosions.
What was the name of the guy who played Q?
Ben Whishaw. Ben Whishaw, the guy who was in Perfume. He's great.
I liked, to have to take over the shoes of playing a new Q.
Who was the previous Q? John Cleese. John
Cleese was Q for like 1 or 2 movies. Who?
Desmond Llewellyn, John Cleese.
He was Q for a lot longer, but yeah.
Yes.
And then who's the chick playing the lady playing M? She's
Judi Dench.
Judi Dench, right?
Dame
Judi Dench. How long has she been M? It's been a while, right? Or is it
not GoldenEye?
GoldenEye
was it just the first Daniel Craig movie?
Yeah,
no, Daniel Craig or Pierce Brosnan?
I think it was just the Daniel Craig. Was she ever Q with?
She was GoldenEye.
M?
GoldenEye was the first one where she was M.
She was in GoldenEye.
Oh wow,
GoldenEye was awesome.
Pierce,
That's like
GoldenEye was the first Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, that was the first Pierce Brosnan.
I've not seen any. Skyfall's the only Daniel Craig Bond I'd seen.
One of the best video game
I heard
adaptations.
amazing things about Casino Royale. Everything I've seen from Casino Royale looks amazing. Quantum Solace, I hear, is just shit. What do you guys?
People got a little bit like polarized, I think, on Quantum of Solace. It wasn't shit. It wasn't as good as Casino Royale, and people wanted the same. You want with a series for it to keep getting better and better, but that doesn't always happen. And if the second one's not as good, people will
I just hate the artwork for Quantum Solace. Like, it's just Daniel Craig with the big gun, like, and it's off-centered, and that's like how they pushed that movie. I think Mark Forster directed that movie. He later on did World War Z. He did Finding Neverland, Stranger Than Fiction, and I think he just did something recently. What did Mark Forster do recently that everyone was pissed off about?
Let
Clayton?
me double check that one.
he's looking into it.
I think people sometimes get burnt out on actors for James Bond.
Yeah,
and I believe
it was only his second film.
He's done 3.
I dig Daniel
was
Craig.
only the second one.
He's already done a third one, right?
Skyfall was the
And now they're doing the Spectre. Spectre?
Yeah. Well, they're talking about recasting Daniel Craig, right?
Maybe after Spectre.
They've already announced.
They've been talking about. I'm going to ruin this guy's name. Idris Elba? Is it Idris?
Elba? Yeah.
They've been talking about Idris Elba for a long time, and apparently during these Sony hacks that came out, that Daniel Craig's like, I'd love it if there was a Black James Bond.
What did I saw something online where some people were bitching about the idea of Idris Elba being James Bond, and that they wanted an Englishman. Like a true Englishman to always play Bond, and then someone pointed out that
he's British.
Yeah, three of the Bonds that have been out there were not Englishmen; they were Scotsmen, and they were Welsh and everything. And Idris Elba is English, so if they wanted a true Englishman, there's Idris Elba.
Yeah,
I know before they cast Daniel Craig, I remember there was talk about who was going to be the next James Bond, and one of the names that got floated around was Ewan McGregor.
Yeah,
that's right. That would have been weird.
I think that would have been cool. I think I would have been into seeing Ewan McGregor be Bond.
I didn't think Daniel Craig would get it. I was super excited because he was in Layer Cake.
He came
out of nowhere. Kind of like a quasi action movie, and I thought that was. That was amazing.
But it's interesting is because Sam Mendes directed Skyfall, so they actually teamed back up because he's the villain in Road to Perdition.
Right.
He's the guy that killed like Tom Hanks' kids.
I liked the I think Daniel Craig was the first new Bond that I remember as an adult. Pierce Brosnan was always Bond to me growing up, and so to move to I know. I'm older than someone.
Roger Moore and me.
Yeah, Roger Moore, man.
But to go from that to Daniel Craig, I liked that they pulled someone who was less known and that he got to kind of just develop the character without people already thinking of what he's done prior. Like if Ewan McGregor jumped into Bond, he'd be bringing everything that Ewan McGregor's done prior into it. And I like that someone less known can.
That's true. You wouldn't want to see like Obi-Wan, James Bond.
It's a little. That's what was great about Daniel Craig is you didn't really know too much about him. You know who's a good Bond? Timothy Dalton. Or I think I just like Timothy Dalton, but he was great in Hot Fuzz. Like whenever he gets through the neck, he's like, it really hurts.
Yeah.
I feel like Roger Moore doesn't get a ton of love, but I think he was a situation where he was like a comedic actor, I believe, like a Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of weird for people, and he jumped into this role. And I really loved him, but I don't know exactly if people look back. He'll always fail in comparison to...
Let us know, hashtag RT Screenplayer in the comments. Who's your favorite Bond, and what do you see happening with Bond in the future? I think this is the most we've ever talked about James Bond ever on the movie podcast.
The recent news about the Spectre title was that with it came the reveal of Bond's car. Like that was part of I love that that's part of the mythology of Bond. They were like, here's the movie and here's his car.
Well, part of the Sony hacks is that they came out and said that the budget was like way off the grid. I think it ballooned up to $300 million.
No way.
Something.
No.
I saw a news article about that.
Did you see $300 million?
I saw that. That's
I saw $300 million fucking dollars for that movie.
They're filming on location on the moon. I don't know if you know that. It's a Moonraker remake.
And they brought like dead people back. It's crazy. Skyfall. Thanks for talking to me about Skyfall because I really wanted to.
What do I want to talk about that I just saw for the first time?
Ever since the Spectre announcement, all this like James Bond news have been coming out, I've noticed that if you go to like the Xbox Video Marketplace, all the James Bond movies are like working their way up, like top rented. Everyone's going back to the back catalog and watching stuff.
Well, it's interesting that because like the Daniel Craig, I feel like bringing Sam Mendes on got it back on track. They kind of got off track with Quantum Solace. Like Pierce Brosnan, where would you say the Brosnan movies went off track? Because GoldenEye great.
When he had sex with a character named Christmas.
Yeah.
And he said, I thought Christmas only came once a year.
That's awful. And then the Visible Car and the Halle Berry. Sorry.
I'm leaving.
I saw that. I was in the theaters and it was like the last line in the movie and I was just like, boo.
Boo.
Boo you. Sir.
You were better in Mrs. Doubtfire, Brosnan. All right. So other thing I saw this weekend, I saw it on Netflix, was the unedited version of Anchorman. So I saw the sequel.
The first one?
No, part two. So I saw Anchorman.
Was that movie like 5 hours long?
No, it's about it's like 2.5 or something. Or it's like 2. It's like an epic scaled, like I watched it in 2 parts, but it's actually way funnier.
Really?
Anchorman 2 was a movie that had a message in it that I liked.
Yeah.
Wrapped around a movie I hated.
Yeah, the movie itself was kind of all over the place. I kind of hated it. It ended with a whole shark storyline.
Yeah.
The new version like doesn't even end with the shark storyline. It ends completely different. The jokes, it feels a lot more like Anchorman. But here's the thing: it might also be the fact that I watched it at home, like with the beer on Netflix, like no hype. Sometimes when you go see a movie in theaters, like you're like.
It's a lot easier to enjoy a movie in a relaxed environment like that.
There's no hype.
I totally relate.
Dude, there's I've said it before, like I saw Dude, Where's My Car in theaters and I was pissed. And I saw it on TV way later, like kind of like, a little bit partied out of my mind. I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. I saw how high that movie Method Man, like 3 o'clock in the morning on USA. I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. If I saw that theater, I would have hated it.
Yeah. Anchorman 2, I think to me, it was one of those movies that often happens with comedies like that where the first movie got it. It was quirky. It was something that little bit different, and that's why it worked. To do it again, it's like saying a joke twice.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to put myself out there. Don't like Anchorman.
Wow.
Did not like Anchorman 1.
I don't think it holds up.
Didn't think it was good the first. I never liked that first movie. I still haven't seen the second one because I hated the first one so much.
Yeah, don't see the second one. The first one's what people liked about the movie, except times 1,000.
If you hated Anchorman 2 when you saw it in theaters, or just did not like it, I suggest giving I suggest giving the unedited one on Netflix a chance.
I don't know if I've ever liked a single Will Ferrell movie.
Stranger Than Fiction's my favorite.
No, hate that movie.
Oh, shut
Terrible.
up.
Really?
Awful.
Fantastic.
It's
Why?
Masturbatory
So
and like so
good.
self-aware.
What about Bewitched?
Oh, dude.
I named the worst one.
Dude, I got drunk and was yelling at the screen in the theater. Elf was good.
There you go.
There you go.
You found it.
Wow, John, in like literally less than a minute.
Old school's all right.
Yeah.
Old school's all right. Okay, so this is something. So like I said, we have the curse of screenplay. Every week after the show wraps, some big movie news comes out right after we finish the show. Last week, I believe it was a day or so after we did screenplay, we all talked about the interview is like just sucking up all the attention of all news. It's this weird time
World
where
news too.
That's what I'm saying. Is the movie? It's like movie. It's transcended just movie news. Like the interview is huge now. It's about everything.
Commenting on it.
So yeah, when Obama comes out and says, "I don't think you should have done that," like that's a little weird. But so since last week,
he also mispronounced
I was
James
about to
Franklin's
say.
name wrong.
What did he say?
He said-
he JJ'd it. He said James.
"Don't you fucking dare start a thing."
He said James
We're
Flacco.
No, he
making
said
that a
Joe
thing.
Flacco, I think. The quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens.
So it was like John Travolta when he introduced that chick at the Oscars,
Yeah.
sang
I
Frozen.
remember.
Yeah.
He like just said a totally
Idina
different
Menzel.
name.
He didn't even say anything remotely close
It
to
wasn't even
Demons Out.
close.
Yeah.
It's like he was like, I'm just gonna go for it.
A mild
He
stroke
could see
right before he
himself
said
on
it.
YouTube as he was saying it.
Man, I think Sony's getting a real bad end of the deal. Like, I think everyone's treating him pretty unfair.
They
yeah.
said that in their recent statement in one of the articles that you sent us to look at, that they said that it was the theater's choices.
Yeah.
That it
No,
was-
let me tell you why that's
ahead.
bullshit, my friend.
okay, I want someone to tell me why it's bullshit.
That's total bullshit because theaters like the Alamo still wanted to play it, and and Sony did not allow them to. So you can't fucking say the theaters didn't want to show it when a theater that
No.
wants to show it, you deny them the opportunity
The
to.
Alamo has like
Here.
6
Right,
locations.
but there are other theaters that would have shown it. You can't say you wanted to release a movie.
Well, the first theater chain that pulled out was Carmike Theaters, which was like southern, about 2,000 screens, is mostly here in the South. And so I was like, I've never heard of this theater chain, so I can imagine that, it's still, that's 2,000 screens. That's a lot of possibilities. But whenever Regal and AMC the next day came out, because once Carmike pulled out, Sony said, hey, if you don't want to play the movie, we're okay with that. That's your decision. And then Regal and AMC and everyone jumped on board. And then they were like, we're going to lose so much money. There's no point in releasing it.
There's a reason why the Alamo, it wasn't hard for the Alamo. Because the Alamo is not a place you take like all of your kids. With all these big chains, movie theaters, they are banking on raking in a lot of revenue from Christmas Day. And they have the perfect day. They have Into the Woods, which is rated, I think, PG. Perfect family movie. Everyone's really excited about it.
Whoa,
the
I don't know if it's a perfect family movie. That's like a dark movie.
They took away the penis.
Oh, okay.
The wolf penis. The second,
Is that a
the
tagline
second
for the
film,
movie?
and someone help me with the name. It's the World War II movie where Benjamin Cumberbatch decodes.
Unbreakable?
no,
or
the
no?
Imitation Game.
Oh no, I'm thinking of.
If there's anything,
I love that movie, though.
if there's
Did you say
anything,
Unbreakable?
Unbroken is what I was thinking.
Do you want to talk about Unbreakable? Is that what you just saw recently?
Unbroken, directed by Angelina Jolie, which that movie commercial never even mentions that. But go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead, finish.
if there's anything people love, it's a World War II movie. That's also a great, and people like Benjamin Cumberbatch. It's a cool story, historical. What?
Did you say Benjamin
Yeah, you did
Cumberbatch?
say Benjamin. Welcome to Screenplay, where we murder names.
You totally JJ that name.
Benedict.
Benny? No.
Benedict.
Benedict, thank you. Real quick, let me just finish the third. And then the third movie is Selma, which is not only nominated for like every award, but it's about Martin Luther King.
Of course.
And that audience is going to appeal to, it's going to appeal to a different audience. It can appeal to minorities, specifically African Americans.
I would think that movie would appeal to everyone.
It does. Yeah. But that's an audience that you're also getting that you might not get as much with the other two movies. So
I
it
love
is the
Tyler Perry,
perfect-
Brandon.
It is the perfect Christmas
don't.
day
No.
for all of these movies. And these theaters budget they expect a certain amount of projected revenue for Christmas. It's a huge day to them. They don't get that revenue. That's a lot of employees that are going to be affected, a lot of cuts. And I haven't heard anybody saying that they want to subsidize any of these theater companies if they lose revenue. And that's what I think the core issue is.
What would be interesting to me is if we had lived in a world where Sony had allowed these independent theaters to continue to show the movie, and imagine if the South Lamar, every screen was just the interview all day long, because it's the only place in fucking town you can watch it. I bet those theaters would have, raked in tons of money on it.
Well, and then George R. R. Martin came out and released a statement saying he owns a theater somewhere in the South, somewhere random, like Georgia or something. And he was like, I will willingly let Sony play the movie at my theater, my one theater. And I saw all these comments on Reddit that were like, don't go. It'll be the red theater, the red screening.
Yeah, the one theater.
The other thing I forgot to mention is interviews rated R, isn't it? It's restricted. Obviously, like you are not. It's not as big a draw for these big theaters. Obviously, a good movie is a good movie, but when you compare a rated R movie, which could keep people out of the theaters, to a rated PG family movie, and two historical movies rated PG-13 on Christmas Day, it's hard for me to imagine that anybody who's in charge of the business of a national theater wouldn't make the same decision. I was in Houston at the Edwards Theater, and it's 3 floors. Yeah, and I imagine whatever CEO Mr. Edward goes into that theater and sees an empty theater on Christmas, it's like, well, I have to fire everyone.
Yeah, because Christmas and Thanksgiving and stuff, like, it's like, hey, I love my family, kind of, I don't want to stay with you in the house all day. Let's go see a movie. It's like, get the fuck out of here.
It's like, I want you guys to shut up for 2.5 hours, and we're going to do this.
That's really why, like, movies do so well on holidays, is because people can only stay in their family for X amount of time. But I get why, like, everyone's like, I've been talking to Chris and a bunch of other people, and I get why the theaters did this, is everyone's like, I don't understand, it's the theater's fault. And me and Clayton were talking about this. My whole thing is this, is if they played the movie and said, fuck it, we're still going to play the movie and do whatever, then they're open to people like Nancy Grace, Vice and Fox News being like, here's a theater that doesn't care about the well-being of little kids and families. They're putting them at risk,
Gus.
even though Homeland Security said there was no risk. It's a bunch of bullshit, and it's crazy to believe that,
I hope that our country is not dictated by what fucking talking heads. As a talking head, I hope that our country's direction and decisions are not affected by these goddamn stupid idiot talking heads on cable news. I mean, it's fucking terrible.
Would you be willing to say that and go on Nancy Grace?
Yeah, I would be willing to.
Oh, I would love to see Gus on Nancy Grace.
I'll punch a bitch. I don't care.
Nancy Grace, you've been called out.
All right, so that's all we're gonna say.
So I'm sorry. I'm gonna pivot here off of something that Brandon said. So you were talking about the Imitation Game, which is the
Benjamin Cumberbatch. Benedict Cumberbatch.
Wait, did you joke about that right there?
No.
Just do it again.
No.
where I believe Benedict Cumberbatch plays Alan Turing, and it's the work to break the Enigma encryption that the Germans had in World War II.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm really curious to see how this movie plays out, because all the trailers make it seem like, Keira Knightley's in the movie also, they make it seem like maybe there's some chemistry there, or they're a couple or something. Alan Turing was gay.
No, the movie goes over that.
I was like, I don't want to go watch this movie if they're going to totally rewrite history and they're going to have like
They got together.
this romantic thing.
The Hollywood Reporter put out this really cool video where they had this kind of roundtable discussion with a bunch of the actors who are kind of like in that Oscar bait category, who did, like Michael Keaton with Birdman and Eddie Redmayne from Theory of Everything.
There you go.
Guys like that. What's his face from Boyhood? Ethan Hawke, and so and the host talks with Benedict about Benjamin talks with Benjamin about the fact that his character was a homosexual and that was a problem. In fact, that his character actually, the person that he plays went to jail for it and that kind of thing, and that's part of the story. As far as I can tell, the movie doesn't.
They just don't want to market it like that because again, they want. They don't want to ostracize people for.
Well, historical people always get pissed. Like that was the big thing about A Beautiful Mind. I think that.
Hated that movie.
Yeah, The Beautiful. Who's that character? Who's
Russell Crowe?
Yeah, but who's he playing? The guy's name?
John Nash.
John Nash. So John Nash had homosexual tendencies, and he had some issues he was dealing with. Homosexual tendencies. That sounds so fucking not politically correct. Tumblr. I take it back, Tumblr.
And he heard voices like he didn't actually.
Yeah, but they didn't talk about it in the movie. They didn't talk about it in the movie, and a bunch of people were pissed about it.
No, I think a part of the movie that they even showed in some of the trailers is the Keira Knightley thing, in that he's kind of advised by his friends or by his helpers, that kind of thing, to that he needs to continue that facade with Keira in order to not.
Okay, cool.
I didn't get that at all.
Okay,
I was with Gus. It was kind of like forbidden love.
Okay, so kind of like whenever like one of the Jonas Brothers is dating Taylor Swift, it's all just kind of the show. I get it.
Yeah, that movie looks awesome.
Yeah,
I want to see all three of those movies at on Christmas. Real quick. No, it's just anecdote.
Brandon's on fire today.
When the award nominations came out for the Golden Globes, Paul and I were going through it, and the one movie we kept seeing was Selma, and I was like, I have no idea what this is. And like a few days later, we were at the Violet Crown, which is a very small theater.
Love the Violet Crown.
Me too, like 20, about 20 people. And this movie trailer came on about Martin Luther King, and it looked really good. Lyndon Johnson is in, who I love. And then at the very end, it just goes, Salma. And then we both, like, without thinking, we're just like, oh.
No wonder.
And everybody looked at us.
That's funny. I love how, just as a side note, I remember whenever Paula, your lady, was out of town, and you're like, hey, Paula's out of town, so I get to see all the movies that she doesn't want to see.
Yeah, I saw about 15 movies last year.
It's okay. We all do it. Like, it
was awesome.
Whenever your girlfriend's out of town, you eat all the places that you're not supposed to eat. It's just something you do. All right, so movies to look forward to. This is a movie that's been on the pipeline for a long time, but Tim Burton just came out and said that it's got a script, it's looking good, and Winona Ryder's coming back, and him and Michael Keaton are talking about it. I'm talking about Beetlejuice 2. It's Beetlejuice.
I thought he said he was still waiting on a script.
They just got one that he said.
Oh, okay.
He just got one that he said is more in line with what he wanted to do. Let me just bring up the fact that years ago in the 90s, he hired Kevin Smith, fresh out of Clerks, to do the script for Beetlejuice 2.
Man, you're having trouble with Beetlejuice.
Yeah, Beetlejuice. But it was supposed to be Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian. And that was the script that Kevin Smith wrote.
Supposedly the Harry Ransom Center at UT has that script.
Well, and the whole thing was, I think it was Tim Burton's kind of parody of old, like kind of those beach go-go movies, like, So I'm super happy that movie didn't happen.
Yeah, you're not the only one. That sounds terrible.
I mean, everyone here, I think it's safe to say everyone here likes Beetlejuice, right?
Yeah.
Love Beetlejuice.
I absolutely love it. It used to give me nightmares, but I kept watching it. The one thing I don't understand, did they intentionally misspell Beetlejuice? Obviously they intentioned it. Yeah. In the
it's weird
they just wanted people to know how to pronounce it, so they misspelled it.
Because the movie has a different title than the TV show. It's like they're spelled juice and gee, like one's spelled with J and one's spelled with the G.
The G's correct within the movie.
I don't know if it's a rights thing.
I thought the cartoon was also with a J.
No, I think they're different.
Cartoon's got to be with a J.
Well,
Like, adults who watch this movie won't understand, but Saturday morning kids, they're on top of it.
It's very weird. I have no idea why the spelling's different because it's different in a lot of different things.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Oh, look at that.
Reliving this.
I fucking love this movie.
I didn't go to my college. I went to the graduation. I don't know what the thing is called where you go hang out after graduation. I didn't go to that. I just went home and watched Beetlejuice.
Yeah. I went through a period after I first watched Beetlejuice. I went through a period where I loved Zagnut bars just because he offers it to the fly. I remember
right.
I got a Zagnut. I was like, I'm gonna need Zagnut bars.
Oh, he's like, hey, man, you got it right here. What do you want?
So I was like, sweet, I'm gonna eat that all the time.
Dude, I might have mentioned this before, but the scene where Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis are visiting their social worker in like the bureaucratic office.
Yeah.
In the background, like behind her, there's a window and a theater, like a movie theater.
Oh, they're watching.
That's all. They are also watching the movie, and they're ghosts.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine being in the movie theater and then noticing that and not being unbelievably
Super creeped out.
Yeah.
I remember watching like Disney Channel at a young age, and it was super late at night. And a lot of times Disney had nothing to play, and they would play old movies they had rights to, like Shazam and weird fucking like
Shazam, the
Shaquille
Shaquille
O'Neal
one?
movie. I just remember that scene with all the pizzas and burgers falling from the sky. But I remember
was awesome as a kid.
I remember one at like at 2 or 3 they played Beetlejuice with that whole like intro with the like Mickey Mouse and like movie time, and then like they played that scene where that chick's like, if I had known what I know now, I wouldn't have had my little accident, and she shows her slit wrist.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the Disney Channel.
Yeah.
It has some really dark moments.
They edit out the whorehouse though, right?
I think so, probably.
That was a cool looking whorehouse.
So
No, seriously though, like
Come on.
yeah.
So as you guys know, Star Wars is coming out next year. Next year is a big
Patrick,
big
We have
year.
video of the whorehouse.
Next year is a big year for movies. I can go into them. We got Avengers, we've got DC, we've got Star Wars, got a lot of different things. We got Mad Max is coming back.
Dude, that Mad Max trailer.
Dude, isn't it fucking sick?
I didn't want to watch it at first. Sorry, I know we're
Yeah,
maybe
go ahead.
rehashing
No,
stuff
go
here,
ahead.
but like I felt like it was so hype. People kept talking about it. I kept seeing it on Twitter. I was like, I'm not going to watch that. There's no way it'll possibly live up to all this hype. Then finally someone's like, sit down, watch it. Oh my god!
So good.
Get the hell out of here.
It's like I wish all trailers were like that, where they don't take themselves too seriously and they're like, let's go with just real stylish. Let's just use.
But my fear is they just showed all the crazy stuff from the movie. I hope they didn't blow their water. It's like everything just kept getting crazier and crazier. And it was like, what is this?
Anybody just get thirsty watching the trailer? Like just so much
so
explosions
dry.
and dust and everything like that. I watched the trailer and I'm with everybody where I'm loving it. This looks awesome. Like they're showing great action sequences and great like design and everything. And then there's a moment halfway through the trailer, I look at all like the way that everyone's dressed and their cars and bikes are like decorated. I'm like, this doesn't seem like what people do if they were out of water. They would take all this time to decorate their cars ever so perfectly and have really cool makeup and headmasks. You think they'd conserve a lot of energy?
I get it. I would totally do that.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait, John, for 6 years from now when you're in America as it looks like that, and you're going, oh, I guess that is what we do.
Then.
You got to be intimidating, right? If you're gonna like rob other people and be like a raider. I mean, I can see
They
putting
went
it
above and
over
beyond, though. They went above and beyond.
Yeah.
Also, you get bored. You got to do something.
I never realized either, and I'm going to do a little bit of a crossover between screenplay and the patch here. I never realized. There it is.
There you go. Whorehouse.
I never realized how much inspiration the Borderlands universe drew from Mad Max.
Totally.
Until I watched that trailer. It's like, oh yeah, all the psychos.
That trailer feels like a Borderlands promo.
Right, yeah.
It's awesome. Okay, so Star Wars is coming out next year, and it's sent everybody running from that weekend that they've said that they're going to release the movie. So
Are we a year away now?
I think it's about a year away. Yeah. So everyone's like staying the fuck away because they know that's going to eat up the weekend. But finally, they've got their first like competition. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler have a movie. I think it's called Sisters. It's called Sisters, and they're going toe to toe. And it's funny because they asked they asked Tina Fey about it. They said, Tina, are you at all jealous? Are you worried? Like worried about this? And she said, no. When we did the movie, I said we're only doing this movie If
On the
we go
weekend.
against Star Wars, which is bullshit, but it's just her having a good time.
No, I think it's smart. You
I
know,
absolutely
like you
agree.
talked about the approach of different movies on Christmas Day,
Yeah.
covering a spectrum of an audience. I feel like a Tina Fey, Amy Poehler vehicle called Sisters is going to appeal to a different audience in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So it's like if you have, you know, a couple going to theater, you talked about going to see movies that your girlfriend didn't want to see with you. Yeah. Perfect. Let's go. Both go. You watch that movie. I'll watch
No,
this movie.
it's very true. It's very true because there's gonna be a lot of people like, well, maybe not that many people, and that's what
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking like in the Venn diagram of those two movies, I'm in the middle. I'm like, I want to see.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think we would probably see both on this
Yeah.
now, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking more
Come on,
typically.
Tina Fey,
And-
why
Yeah.
not?
And you know, honestly, it's tough going against Star Wars. But then if you think, would you rather do that, or would you rather compete with like 4 or 5 other movies
Movies
around
just
the
like
same time?
yours.
And gosh, it might not have been as close, but I know American Pie, I think, was pretty close to Phantom Menace when it came out in '99.
Yeah.
And you know that did extremely well, just because they're completely different movies. And I think the more people are more likely to go out to the theater, the more likely they're going to want to go again.
Yeah,
to see
yeah,
another
yeah.
movie.
So I want to rebuke something that Risinger said. Baby Mama was terrible.
It was
Oh
terrible.
yeah, no one talks about that
was
movie.
terrible.
So I don't feel like a Tina Fey, Amy Poehler movie is necessarily
I
a slam
agree.
dunk because
No.
that is, in fact, Baby Mama makes me less excited about this movie.
Well, because she did that. They did that right after Mean Girls, and it was like they used the Mean Girls success to do Baby Mama, and I don't even think Baby Mama got a theatrical
No,
release.
Yeah, it did.
What?
Did it?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
did. It didn't come right after Mean Girls. It came much later, didn't it?
Really?
I think Date Night was before that.
Oh, okay.
Which I
thought
don't.
Date Night was after Baby Mama. Fact checker.
Get on, Clayton.
Date Night was great though, but that wasn't Amy Poehler.
No,
with
it was
her.
not.
All right, so
Yes, it was.
No.
So there's a trailer that came out. It was a movie that I saw. Fantastic. Was it
Baby Mama came out in 2008.
2008?
And what was Date Night?
I'm on
I
that.
want to
too.
say Date Night was probably after that. I think.
I think
Date
it
Night was after
before.
that.
I want to say Day Night was like 09 or 10.
Yeah.
Really quickly, I just heard the news. This is going to air on Tuesday and Wednesday if you're watching on YouTube. But I just heard the news before I came out here. Rest in peace, Joe Cocker has passed away today, and that's a big bummer. He, if you don't know who Joe Cocker is, he was a musician. He was really famous for being friends with the Beatles and doing a lot of Beatles covers. He, most importantly, you probably know him best from doing what was the Ben Savage show?
Wonder Years.
Wonder
It was Fred
Years.
Savage.
Oh, Fred Savage. There you go. So if you've ever
Benjamin
heard that,
Savage.
if you ever heard the
he
Beatles,
narrator?
the Beatles opening
Yeah.
like, "What would you do if I sang out of tune?"
But-
that was Joe Cocker.
They didn't get the rights for that, right? Like you had to have watched it on TV. Like if you watch it streaming now,
They don't have the rights. to
that's
that?
not
Oh, because Beatles tracks are like they like charge a fucking arm and a leg.
right. But I think they have some Beatles songs in the show. They just
Really?
couldn't get the Joe Cocker cover.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Okay. Music's
I have a-
crazy.
yeah, music.
I have a stupid fun fact about that. Dawson's Creek is the same way if you watch it on Netflix or any of their digital releases where it's not I don't want to wait for it's that song is not there because they didn't buy
That's so
the rights.
stupid.
Well,
Yeah.
it's because the show came out before people were thinking that far ahead for DVD
Yeah, yeah,
release,
yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they didn't buy the rights for it. And so when you watch Dawson's Creek on Netflix, it's a different opening. Sucks.
You know when Wayne's plays Stairway to Heaven in Wayne's World?
Yeah.
So in the movie version, he actually does play
Starts playing
he
it.
actually does play the chords, but since something about rights, they had to like add him playing some other different chords.
Really?
On,
Well-
on release.
well, what's
in the movie theater, it was really him playing Stairway. Everything you've seen since on VHS
That's
or
but
on
there's
Netflix.
even a joke where there's a sign next to him that says
No
no stairway,
stairway.
and the guy's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, look at the sign."
yeah, but he's just playing some dumb chords. But in the movie, he was actually starting the song.
Yeah, I think that's why Freaks and Geeks took forever to come out on DVD
Because all the song
every
rights.
episode had like a ton of music.
That
It
happens
was
a lot.
It's the same way with the Wonder Years. That's why it took forever.
Yeah,
and there
Wonder
was
Years
so
took a
much music.
long time.
Didn't you guys watch I Love Lucy?
Oh,
like
yeah.
on Nick at Night?
Yeah, I loved I Love
Well,
Lucy.
do you remember the intro, like that slow
Yeah.
music and stuff? Apparently, that's only for syndication. If you were to watch it when it was actually releasing, the intro was an ad for cigarettes.
Really?
Yeah, and please fact check, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Just because, like, culturally at that time, I mean, cigarettes were everywhere. Now it's illegal for cigarettes to advertise on television.
It's true.
I've seen ads with the Flintstones
Yeah.
smoking,
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about
I've seen those
cigarettes.
too.
Yeah.
I got this this whole DVD of like weird commercials that are since banned.
It's like
But
Fred and Barney smoking
Winston's.
and
They're
talking
smoking
about
Winston's.
it. Yeah. Are they? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
no, it's Winston's. I know, I have it.
Even Ghostbusters was like 1984.
Oh, they're all smoking.
They're
cigarettes.
all
Ray-
in
Ray-
every scene.
Ray
They
is
just
smoking.
like smoke. Yeah, Ray and
Yeah.
Winston.
But are they advertising it though?
No, they're just
Because
smoking.
you can. But
But
I'm
I'm just
just
saying-
real cigarettes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Is like
crazy.
that's
Really-
like John Constantine. I don't know if he's smoking on TV, but that's the big thing. Is like his character is like obviously. Oh,
Smoke on TV.
I don't think.
But
he's-
yeah.
I
Well,
think
then why do they get to smoke on Mad Men?
Mad
because
Men.
it's a different time. The same way that they're allowed to smoke pot in that '70s shows because it's like a nostalgic thing.
Oh,
Mad Men. I don't think they're not.
Even though-
Oh, sorry.
Even though it's a lot easier to smoke and a lot more legal to smoke pot now.
Time has changed.
Mad Men. They're smoking because of creative reasons.
Yeah.
like they're smoking to make a point.
they're
but I'm
smoking because of creative reasons.
Yeah, I mean it's a period film. It's supposed to say, and plus, cigarette companies
Constantine
are a
would
huge,
be for creative reasons. It's
huge,
part of the
huge
character.
part. Oh no, I'm comparing it like to Ghostbusters,
Oh.
which is just more. That's how people live.
They were just
Yeah.
smoking.
They were just smoking because like that was just
That's-
more common.
that's-
Well, they weren't trying to. Ghostbusters wasn't trying to make a political point, and
That's another movie I rewatched last week. I hadn't seen it in a long time. Was Thank You for Smoking. I saw it.
Oh, that's a great movie.
It came up on HBO, and I don't think I'd seen that since it came out in the theater. Maybe.
that has our favorite line in it ever.
Oh yeah, it does. How would smoking in an all-oxygen environment work? Wouldn't that be dangerous?
Oh, we just had a line.
Yeah, well, I thank God we invented the.
Yeah, it's
whatever.
Rob Lowe. It's Rob
Yeah,
Lowe.
yeah.
Dude, that's probably my favorite Jason Reitman movie. He's since gone downhill. He did Thank You for Smoking. He did Juno. He did Up in the Air.
Up in the Air is probably my favorite.
Up in the Air is great.
pretty good.
I did not see Labor Day, and I did see Men, Women, and Children. And though I liked Men, Women, and Children, it had I liked because the industry about like online and multiplayers and like communities and Tumblr, like I got it, so I enjoyed it. But
You
there
say multiplayers.
yeah, multiplayers. But the movie itself was a bit lacking, and I know that movie got panned. So Jason
did.
Reitman's in a bit of a rut right now, which is kind of a bummer. So I asked you guys to watch 2 trailers. There's the one movie It Follows, which is kind of a horror film that I saw at Fantastic Fest, and then there's the True Story trailer with Jonah Hill and James Franco, which is Jonah Hill and James Franco being serious.
I saw that trailer on the day the interview announcement
Is that
happened.
weird?
I was like, this is kind of odd that the James Franco trailer is showing up on my feed of stuff.
So we're watching the trailer right now for a True Story.
They've both done dramatic films. They've
I know. It
they've
was
both
just-
been nominated for
Yeah,
Oscars.
but they've never done one
sense.
together.
That's true.
They've never done one together. So when if you see James Franco in a movie without his crew, you're like, okay, he's being serious. It's milk. If you see Jonah Hill in Moneyball or Wolf of Wall Street, and he's not with the Judd Apatow crew, you're like, okay, it's he's
about,
with
Yeah, Franco's big movie was 21 Hours. It was
27 hours.
127 hours. I mean,
Yeah,
I think he was
dude,
definitely nominated.
He like
Jonah
took
Hill.
100 hours away from him being tied to that rock.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go on a limb here.
What's up?
do it, fucking do it.
Dave Franco is the best Franco.
You think so?
Oh, he's
I think so too.
so
I think so too.
funny.
He's
I like
good.
Dave Franco.
James Franco's kind of wearing thin on me.
Has
but
Dave Franco tried to do anything dramatic yet?
He's
though?
so
I don't think so.
slimy.
I don't think so.
Sorry, Dave Franco he's
Oh,
in
right.
Scrubs.
He's
He
in
was
21 Jump
also
Street.
in
Neighbors.
21
Now You
Jump
See Me.
Street.
He's the guy in Superbad that Jonah Hill's like, hey, you pissed yourself in first grade. We don't forget. And he's like literally a cameo.
Yeah, and he's I think the lead high school student in 21 Jump Street.
Oh, he's
correct?
also isn't he also
yeah.
in Now
Oh,
You See
that's
Me, Now You
right.
Don't, or Now You See Me movies?
Yeah, he's in
I'm
Now
not
You
sure.
See Me.
Oh, I
he's
didn't watch
he's
that.
the sleight of
He's
hand
I've
guy.
heard
just
good
a
things.
huge weasel.
Yeah.
But he's really funny.
So I'm curious to see this True Story movie. It's directed. The guy who directed it's his first feature. He's done TV movies and stuff before. What do you guys think about It Follows? If you saw the trailer, did it make you want to see the movie?
It didn't like it. It looked like it was trying to stand out as something different in that
We're
genre.
watching the trailer now, yeah.
But I was watching the whole movie and I was like, I'm not seeing anything different from the genre. It looks like they very well could be saving something that's a good
Yeah.
twist, and they kept kind of leading towards something that was a twist. And they had a lot of call outs that were making it sound like it's the best thing since Cabin in the Woods and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Right there.
There it is.
But I watched. I was like, it looks like anything else from the genre. Not that it's a
But
bad thing.
That being said, I mean, Cabin in the Woods was clever, and what was clever about it was not shown in the trailer.
Right.
You got to
Yeah.
hold that back.
Agreed.
So it could be there
Agreed.
are aspects to this that we just aren't aware of because they don't want to spoil it.
The other thing is very rarely are the creators of movies cutting the trailers and doing the approvals.
Oh, this is true.
So it's completely possible that the distribution company or the companies who made the trailer made the movie just want to show people that this is that type of movie.
Yeah.
So that might
I
be
get
why
that.
it seems a cliche, but
Yeah.
that might be the intention to say,
Yeah.
you like these type of movies, come see it.
I'm
and
totally,
obviously
like-
there's exceptions like Spielberg or
I'm
Lucas.
perpetuating
whoever.
a problem I have with trailers when they just give away all the good stuff. So yeah,
It happens way
Yeah.
too often.
I was just curious. I've actually seen the movie, and it's interesting how it's always interesting when you see a movie way before it's being released and it gets marketed, and you see the movie and you're like, wow, that was a great movie, and then you see the trailer and you're like, that's how they're selling that.
Yeah.
So I was just curious how you guys like. I really fucking like this movie. And Gray was on the podcast at one point. He talked about how much he liked it. It's a good film. If you see it in your area, I think it's getting more wide release overseas. You'll probably see it maybe VOD or Redbox here in the States. But if you get a chance, check it out. It's not your average horror film. It's a little bit different. Go ahead.
No, you're going to talk about this because I was going to jump off to something else.
Real quick, did any of you guys know what Sweeney Todd was?
Yes.
The plot of the story or whatever it was before you saw the movie?
It was a musical?
Yes.
No, I didn't.
I had no idea. I saw the trailer. There's no singing. It's just like, oh, this looks really cool. It's very stylized. Johnny Depp looks pretty awesome. And I was watching it, and then Helen Bonham Carter starts to sing, and I was like, what?
There's more
I
singing
loved
than
it.
dialogue.
I thought it was really, really good, but I was also, it was weird. Like that's not how they market it. And it's interesting because musicals used to be so popular, especially in theater. Like there have been more musicals made if you count theater in this country than anything else.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, try to hide it.
That was me with Nightmare Before Christmas. I didn't know that it was like almost all singing when I saw it. And I was like, this is odd that they're not really talking very often, that everything is a song.
Especially at that time, because like when Nightmare Before Christmas came out, like musicals weren't a thing like they are now. Yeah, that's a harder sell. Like,
Except if they were like animated.
Now everything's a musical.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so we didn't talk about what happened this weekend or theater movies that came out this week. One of the movies that came out this big was the ending to the Hobbit trilogy, the Battle of the Five Armies. I've not seen it. Our very own Chris Damaris, huge fan of Middle Earth. He went and saw it, and he let us know what his thoughts were. So we pre-taped a little like bit with him. So Chris, let us know what you thought about the Hobbit.
Chris?
So, Hobbit is about what you would expect after seeing the first two. I had really high hopes for it because I thought, it's the end of the movie. There's literally battle with five armies. It could be fun. If you like Middle Earth and you like Lord of the Rings, you should go see it. If you're a fan, you'll enjoy it and certainly enjoy parts of it. But it's still kind of like one of those things where it's like you remember this beautiful girl that you knew in high school, and you have fond memories, and then you're hoping whenever you finally meet her again after all this time, after 10 years or whatever, that she'll be the exact way you remember her. Turns out she gained a lot of weight, maybe got a couple ugly tattoos. There's things that happen that are just cheesy, and you don't really care about some of the characters like you should. There's a really good movie in there if someone took all three of them and cut them down to one. And also, elves shouldn't fall in love with dwarves. That's stupid.
No, the Martin Freeman. So that was Chris talking about his ideas about the Hobbit.
So that he was comparing it to a crush you may have had in high school. Earlier today, I saw a tweet from Kumail Nanjiani. He's a comedian. He's in Silicon Valley.
That's right.
And he said,
he's so funny.
He said that comparing Lord of the Rings to The Hobbit was like comparing making love to the love of your life versus jacking off on a blow-up doll you found in the trash.
I've done both. So what's
not even in it, just on it.
On it. He was very particular about word choice.
What if Lord of the Rings, the like extended edition, is just one movie? What if Peter Jackson's
The Hobbit?
Hobbit. What if Peter Jackson's cut of the Lord of the Hobbit movies is literally just like a 2-hour one movie, and it's way better than
There's
the three?
no way it'll be that.
Oh, I know but that would be great.
Yeah, the way he works normally is you get your special edition, and it's like twice as long.
Yeah,
I love those.
There's a show here in Austin called Master Pancake Theater, and it stars John Erler, who's been in a couple of our shorts. And what they do is kind of like they show a movie in the theater and they mock it as you're watching it. And they did Lord of the Rings, and they had to cut it down from 3 hours to like 90 minutes. And they're like, the movie is 180 minutes, and the first thing we did is we cut out all the scenes with women. And then it went to 188 minutes.
Oh, God.
And
wait, you went from 180 to 188?
They went from like 190 to 188.
Oh,
There you go.
okay.
Yeah. And then they had to cut down like a shit of other stuff. But then I watched it and I was like, I still enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is moved pretty quickly.
Something I wanted to mention earlier when we were talking about, just to go back to the interview really quickly, is I really was pitching ideas to Josh Flanagan and Daniel Fabello in live action. I was like, we should do a short where we're trying to pitch the next movie that gets banned. We're like, let's make a movie like this thing. This interview's done great jobs for like Sony's marketing.
You're trying to pull the producers.
Let's do a short that just is so fucking like controversial that it will never see the end of day. Like North Korea's done. That's been milked. Like let's like West Baptist Church is like having a picnic.
Westboro.
Yeah. So I just like I don't know.
So you prepared to fuck a bunch of old ladies to get it funded?
Yeah, that's a really interesting idea to make a movie and test the U.S. and see, is there a movie we can make that'll cause a big part of the United States to have the same kind of reaction that they did, that the North Koreans did. It's not a movie, and I'm sure there's a better example, but the Dixie Chicks come to mind, the musical group.
I remember that.
About 15 years ago, and they obviously are a Southern band. I believe they're from Texas, and they had said on foreign soil that they were embarrassed to be from the same state as George W. Bush.
Yeah.
And instead of disagreeing with them, there were whole groups that went out and tried to ban their music.
Yeah.
On
they
radio
lost their
stations.
sponsor for their tour.
They lost their sponsor, so it's an issue with different thing with disagreeing and then targeting them monetarily. And I wonder what's the difference of that versus what's going on with North Korea.
Well, North Korea couldn't damage the movie economically. What are they gonna do? They're gonna boycott the movie. I mean, the movie's not gonna show.
Well,
there
they
anyway.
they strategized and they were able to prevent the movie from being
I just want to be a fly on the wall in Kim Jong Un's like office when they find out that like they pulled the movie. Because he fucking did a dance. Like, he was just like,
I don't know why he was so upset. The dude they cast to play him in the movie is way better looking than he actually is. It's a huge upgrade. Like,
he's the guy from Veep. He
but he was also Asian Jim on Parks and Rec.
He was.
All right, so moving on to TV now. So
I forgot he was. That was such a good gag.
HBO released a promo for the end of the year, like their best shows, and then at the end of the promo, they had what you can expect in 2015, and they showed some scenes from Game of Thrones, but they also showed some scenes from their new show Westworld, which they've not yet to premiere, which looks fucking awesome.
So I didn't even know this show was in development until you sent this link and I watched this video.
Well, a lot of people don't know Westworld. I know Westworld really well from just scouring movie stores as a kid, and I remember seeing like the 70s movie on VHS. So Westworld is based on a Michael Crichton story. Michael Crichton wrote Jurassic Park, Congo, all those movies that were based on novels, and he directed that movie. Like Michael Crichton actually directed the 1970s version of Westworld,
which starred Yul Brynner.
Yul Brynner. And then James Brolin.
For the people who are watching, can you just say real quick, what are we watching right now?
We're watching the HBO promo.
This is their little summarization.
It's basically every show they're doing.
We're about to see they probably already showed it. Okay, so the Westworld looks great. So the idea of Westworld is that it's the future, and that there's this kind of like Disney World kind of place, and they have a medieval world, and then they have like I forget what the other one is. There's like 3 different worlds, and Westworld is like their Western version, and people can pay like $1,000 to go pretend like they're in the West, but they have these people that are cowboys and stuff, but they're all robots, and they have this one guy who's like the gunslinger, and you get to kill him, and he comes back every day, but then like shit starts to go wrong, and the robots in this Westworld like kind of future civilization. It's a weird idea.
Kind of like Jurassic Park.
Totally like Jurassic Park. So
just saying.
So Crichton's always hit on the same.
I watched that trailer and all I could think of was like HBO had a good year. Like all their shows they went through of like from True Detective to Veep to Game of Thrones to Silicon Valley.
That they had promos showing off next season for everything except True Detective.
Yeah.
They just had that title card. Just said new season, True Detective. No fucking
video,
frame.
no nothing.
Yeah. Not a frame of footage.
Well, so there's True Detective, and going on more HBO news. So Arya Stark, who's in the next season of Game of Thrones, Entertainment Weekly posted some concept art of her clothes, which she's going to be wearing. So apparently she's going to be way less tomboy, not going to be wearing those rags anymore. They have her in some kind of fancy little frilly little outfits and stuff.
Yeah, dress.
And Maisie Williams, I believe I'm saying her name right, is super stoked about getting to be more of a girl. So we have that to look forward to. And of course, all the readers of the books will tell us fucking duh.
I think what her quote was, she was happy that her hair will finally be able to move.
That's right.
Because for like 4 seasons, it's just been like dirty and matted. And
Is Brandon Stark, is he still a hipster?
I don't know. Brad Stark is not even in this season.
Yeah, him and Hodor.
Their story is done till the next movie.
They've run out.
Or sorry, until the next book.
They've run out.
And then, so has anyone seen Marco Polo? Because me and Brandon have been watching it.
I have. I'm like 5 episodes in.
Gus?
So no, I haven't. And I feel like this is a show that got sprung on the world. I feel like there was maybe I missed it, maybe I just didn't see the ads, but I feel like I didn't see really any promotion
It came out
for
of nowhere.
And
It was
then all of a
just
sudden
out.
it was like, here it is.
It was,
out.
it was like
what?
on Netflix saying, "Hey, new popular, check this out."
Yeah.
But so I would say the only it got on my radar because I was getting content ready for a screenplay, and it was like on the on all the rags for television, and hey, this is Netflix's most expensive show, only second to Game of Thrones, and I'm watching it. It's very, very much a Game of Thrones. It's not a Game of Thrones clone, but it's definitely trying to fill that void between seasons.
I liked when we were just playing Smite a little while ago,
Yeah.
and Brandon asked, he's like, "Have you seen Marco Polo?" I was like, "No, I haven't seen Marco Polo." He's like, "It was really good. I liked it. It's got more sex than I've ever seen in any show."
I mean, that seems like what you say to somebody who hasn't seen it. I don't want to bore you with the minute.
This is how you
things
sold. This
about
is how you
it.
sold Risinger
But
on it. Hey, Risinger, you got a penis?
He told me
I love this show.
He told me the same thing. It made me more interested, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot.
The most sex I've ever seen in my life. And that includes in my personal life. JJ, I have to disagree with you. I think what would make the show more successful is if it was more like Game of Thrones and there was much more of a fantasy element and fiction. I think it's very much a historical documentation of an empire, and an empire that most people don't really think about, the Mongolian. Most people think about the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, even the Persian Empire. So I love it, but I'm a huge history buff. And I like reading about this stuff, even independent of watching anything. So I don't know if it's necessarily super, has like a wide range of appeal. And I think that might be one of the issues with it.
The reason Netflix made the show in general is because when they make shows like House of Cards and Arrested Development and all these shows that they don't own the international rights to them. So they lose a big chunk of money from that. So when they made Marco Polo, they were like, here's a show, and we're going to make sure that we own all the rights.
Yeah.
So here's a show that, globetrots. It's in Europe, it's in Asia. So it's going to do well in those countries. Like, Asian areas are going to love Marco Polo.
It's a vehicle for them to drive subscribers overseas. That's the new Netflix push, is overseas growth. I mean, they've essentially captured all the market they can get for
That's
the
a
most
really
part
good
in the
point.
US. Yeah. And I mean, I definitely saw what you're talking about. When I was in Australia and New Zealand, it was like, oh, cool, House of Cards is on TV. That's weird. It just doesn't make any sense.
It's like syndicated there.
Right, yeah. It's like, oh, watch the new episodes on Channel 6.
You're like, it's on TV?
Like, well, okay, weird. They sorry, I'm gonna go back just real fast here to Marco Polo. It's obvious they have a huge budget, because I was watching some NFL games yesterday, and they were like, here, we're gonna check out our instant replay with our instant look back, brought to you by Marco Polo on Netflix. And it was like all branded Marco Polo. I was like, what the fuck?
I still stand by my original, before I even saw, I like this show. I've only seen about 4 episodes, but I still by the thing I said when I first, without seeing a frame, I said, I think it's going to do good. I think it's an awful name.
Yeah, but you haven't messed up the name once.
Yeah. But the thing is, with Marco Polo, Game of Thrones, when Stark dies, the main spoiler season 1, when Ned dies, you're completely thrown because you really think this is the lead of the show.
Yeah.
So when he gets killed, you're like, what? So when Marco Polo, you're like, this guy's not gonna die. You're not worried about him.
Yeah, but I think what it does is it frees them up to make the show about anything. I think this first season is probably going to conclude in the Mongolian Empire. They're going to leave that, and Marco Polo is going to go somewhere else in the world.
Yeah.
So they're able to title it something. They're able to name it around an adventurer, and the first thing that comes to mind on adventurer is he travels. So it's kind of like Amazon. Gus, I think you might know about this. Amazon named itself Amazon because it didn't just want to sell books, because that's what it started as a bookseller. They wanted to be able to do anything. So I think that's one of the things that makes the name of the show work, and I think everybody remembers it.
Yeah. And I mean, and to counter your point about not being worried that Marco Polo is going to die, it's like, yeah, okay, so one character might be okay, but there's still a surrounding host of characters.
No, this is true. So moving on, last week.
Wait. Actually, in talking about Marco Polo, remind me of something I did see recently. That was another one of those shows that's owned by someone like Netflix. It's Hulu's The Wrong Mans. Clout sent out a perk for people to be able to watch the first episode early. I think the whole season comes out December 24th, maybe. And The Wrong Mans was their show they did last year. That was a British show with 2 of the actors. One of them is one of the main guys from Into the Woods. He'll be in Into the Woods. What's the Clayton? Look at the 2 main guys from Wrong Mans, and it was this short.
James Corden.
You could say a name, everything right now, and I can't remember.
Is he a little portly?
Yes.
Is it the British guy?
Yeah.
He's blowing up, man.
He's taking over Craig Ferguson's job.
Oh, really?
He's going to be the new Late Late Show host.
Wrong Man season 1 was fantastic. It was this show about these two guys who are kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time and kind of get mixed up in a big old conspiracy government issue, and each like episode kind of really connected directly seconds into the next episode.
Yeah.
And so they just came out with the first episode early on, I guess, for some people on Clout to watch, and I watched it and I'm so excited about it. If anybody,
I'll check it out.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of good things about it.
It's one of Hulu's like successes in my book.
You're saying it's about someone who's like wrongfully accused?
Yes.
So the title
Hence
of the
the name
thing
Wrong
is
Man's.
Wrong Man. Got it.
No,
There
Wrong
you go.
Man's. That's
Wrong
the joke.
Man's.
Because
It's
it's two
plural.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah, but
All
I'm
right.
just saying it's like very literal. Like this
Yeah.
is exactly.
Oh,
what
shut
it
up.
is.
So really quickly,
No,
two
why
more
is that?
two more stories I want to sum up really quick before moving to movie book club because we're hitting that time. Really quick, David Schwimmer. Last week we talked about how Cuba Gooding Jr. got casted as O.J. Simpson in Ryan Murphy's new spinoff to American Horror Story called American Crime Story, where they follow one crime
is that
per
what that is?
season. Yeah,
Oh, it's being shot in Austin, right?
I don't know if it's being shot in Austin, but they're filming the whole. So every season is one crime. They focus on that story. So O.J. Simpson's the first one they're doing. Cuba Gooding Jr. is going to be O.J. Simpson. They just casted David Schwimmer to be Robert Kardashian, which is Kim Kardashian's late father.
Oh.
Something that really cracks me up about this is I remember years back is there was a big gala event by the Goldmans and to like kind of commemorate Nicole Brown Simpson's life, and Kim Kardashian showed up to the event because it was like this big LA who's who of who's there, and you're like, Kim Kardashian, your dad's Robert Kardashian. He was the lawyer to O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing at this gala event? And she was
don't
probably
care.
like, everyone's here. I've got to be here.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
Gus, you went, right?
I was there. Anyone was there.
Gus, what do you think about this? Because like, I mean, we're kind of the same age frequency. Like, I remember the O.J. Simpson's like fucking trial. Do you remember what does that mean for you, Kardashian? Whenever I say Robert Kardashian.
What do you mean? Yeah, I know. I remember.
Well, I mean,
all
like,
that.
what do you remember from him as far as like that whole thing, that whole circus?
I mean, the problem with that at the time was there were just so many names.
Yeah.
Like Robert Kardashian, Mark Furman.
Judge Ito, Mark Furman. It's like, oh my God. It's like keeping track of it was just a fucking nightmare to me.
I don't think
true.
anybody thinks of Kardashian when they think of OJ.
No. I'm curious to see. I just like seeing David Schwimmer play straight characters every now and then. I think he was in what's that? Not the
Band
same
of
Private
Brothers.
Ivan, but
Band
Yeah,
of
he was in
Brothers.
Band of Brothers. He was
Brothers.
great in Band of
He's
Brothers.
great.
Band
So
of
was Simon
Brothers is
Pegg.
fantastic.
And then also, this is something more right up your alley, Gus. The new Walking Dead spinoff has been.
Brendan.
What, you guys are both into The Walking
No,
Dead?
I fucking hate The Walking Dead.
What? You play the video game?
The video game's great. Fucking TV show's awful.
Have you played the Telltale video game for Game of Thrones?
Yeah, it's great.
I've heard nothing but great things.
It's really good.
Good game.
But so, okay, Walking Dead, it's finally been revealed. The new location is, of all places in the world, L.A.
Yeah.
And it's a prequel. I think it's bullshit to do it L.A. I think it's like, I get it. That's where your gear is. That's where your crew is.
It's hard to shoot in LA though.
Yeah.
If they're used to shooting
It's
in Georgia,
expensive. You
Where
can do
you-
anything you want in Georgia.
But in L.A., it's like, how are you going to make L.A. look like it's a waste? And there's
they'll
nothing.
shoot it in Vancouver.
What
Yeah.
are you excited about this, Brandon? The spinoff? Do you care?
I don't know.
John
I mean, like,
doesn't.
I'm not super excited about Walking Dead right now. So
This
I'm
season
not.
actually is better than last season. I will say this. At the end of last season, I was ready to sign off the entire series as a whole. Last season was just terrible.
Really?
This season actually is pretty good and actually has pulled a few things from the book that got me extra excited about, like the whole sequence with the eating of the guy's leg and him saying he was infected and that kind of thing. That was something straight from the book that was a really pivotal moment throughout the series that I was like, oh, good. They're kind of reconnecting a little bit to the book.
I like how half of The Wire is in that show.
Yeah,
at some point.
basically
It's
at this
pretty great.
point. But I don't know if I really care for a spinoff. I mean, it could be great. Who knows? It might be awesome, but I don't really care that much.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm bored with Gus. It's like it's so hard to shoot in LA again versus Georgia. It's like I don't know why you're not doing a spinoff in New Mexico,
Somewhere
which
completely
like there's so
desolate.
much.
Yeah.
The reason why Breaking Bad is set in New Mexico is because it is very easy to shoot in
it
New
was so cheap.
Mexico.
It
you
was
shoot
so
the
cheap.
prequel in a state with good tax incentives for
Yeah.
the film industry.
Yeah,
true.
but I don't know. Maybe they figured out a way to do it and it would make it work economically.
Confirmed that it'll be set in LA, but there's still some waiting on whether or not it'll be filmed there. There's still some buzz
Yeah,
as
they're
to
not
whether or
gonna
not
film there.
they'll shoot somewhere else.
Maybe in Vancouver
They,
All
they
right.
might just do establishing shots.
There you go.
Yeah.
or Georgia.
All right, right now, moving on to Movie Book Club. This week we all watched Scrooged. Really quickly, Clayton, you are the man in the video store. I'm going to go ahead and give you a little trivia twist. Name me some Richard Donner movies. What did Richard Donner direct?
Superman 2.
Superman 2?
Superman 2.
Not the one with
Lethal
Richard
Weapon.
Pryor.
There's one that's
Lethal
pretty
Weapon,
relevant to this show.
Goonies.
Even more relevant to this
Lethal
show.
Weapon.
Lethal Weapon, man. That's where I'm at. Goonies. What else?
Radio Flyer.
Man, I forgot all about that movie. That movie's
And
great.
fucking Maverick, because that movie is the shit.
Maverick is awesome.
Mel
Yeah.
Gibson Maverick? I guess, yeah, because he'd be too young to do
So Richard Donner, here we are. He directs Scrooged, which is the movie of the week that we all watched this week. I was obsessed with this movie as a kid. I watched this movie way too much.
Yeah.
Getting to watch it again as an adult, a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Caught so many more jokes.
Yeah.
I never caught the nipple joke earlier.
Way more
Yeah.
adult than you remembered as a kid if you watched it as an
Oh,
adult.
totally.
And you probably saw it on TV. You probably didn't
Yeah.
really see it in theaters.
Yeah,
so they
yeah,
take
yeah.
some
I
of that
didn't
stuff
see it in
out.
theaters.
But yeah, it's a really smart parody on a story that everybody's so familiar with.
You know
like
what?
it knows what it is, and it acknowledges that it knows what it is in the movie. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
For a Christmas movie, it sure does feel like a Halloween movie at times. This movie is frightening.
Christmas of the Ghost of Christmas like yet to come is freaking scary.
Oh, dude, I wrote the all the death designs. The design of death,
Yeah.
like the movie screen on his face, and like whenever Bill Murray's walking down the hallways to like the mental institute, it's all like at a weird Tim Burton kind of tilt. It's like that's weird,
Well,
man, but it's great.
Yeah, right there, the scene with
oh god,
What's
I
his
hate,
face?
I hate dead people.
Walter?
not zombies,
Yeah.
but people who are dead that know they're dead and they're rotting terrifies me.
Like Beetlejuice?
Yeah, yeah. It's a good example.
I never realized that Danny Elfman did the music to this until I watched it. Actually, I watched it today before we did the show. And I was
Oh,
like,
does he? I thought he did it, but I thought I googled
it
it.
was
and he
super
did.
obvious.
that scene right there where he's being held outside the window and then he starts clawing at the guy's arm and
Yeah.
the arm breaks off. It gets really graphic
Dude, yeah,
and
and he falls
nasty.
down. It's really a graphic fucking movie, man. This is not like it's pretty
And
intense.
it was probably rated PG, right?
Probably because the '80s were a great time.
It was a totally different time.
And okay, so the guy that plays the cab driver, David Johansen,
awesome.
he's so awesome. He's also he changed his name. He's David Johansen. He was the lead singer of a band called the New York Dolls in the '70s and the '60s. He hung out with the Sex Pistols and the Rolling Stones. But David Johansen changed his name in the '80s to Buster Poindexter, and he did that song "Hot, Hot, Hot."
I fucking hated that song.
When the city's coming. Hot, hot, hot. Anyway, so that's the guy that drives the cab.
Awful.
He's a musician. He's a crazy fucking guy. I don't know
Bobcat
why they
Goldthwait's in it.
Bobcat Goldthwait. I don't know why Bobcat Goldthwait doesn't still use that voice.
Does he not? I guess he
He
does.
doesn't. Yeah, he's the guy in the movie that gets fired that has the shotgun. Bobcat Goldthwait has gone on to become a really great director. In the
Yeah.
'80s, he directed. May have been the '90s. He did Shakes the Clown, which is kind of a fucked up movie. Then he did, and more so, he's more famous now for doing World's Greatest Dad.
Let's not forget, he starred in the movie with the racehorse.
Which one?
What was it called? I don't remember what it was called. He starred in some movie with a fucking horse.
Was he the star of the movie?
It was fucking terrible.
Did he play the horse?
No. Oh, shit. It's just a big I gotta look it up.
I always think of Charlie Day as our modern day Bobcat.
I could totally see that.
Like
actually.
he's like a little bit like of his voice and a little bit of his character. He's kind of like filled that kind of role.
Out of all the people that were in Police Academy, if you would have told me that Bobcat would be the one who still has a career today, I would say bullshit.
Can I go back to the cab driver real quick?
Go ahead.
Before we move on? He has my favorite line in the movie. Bill Murray is about to see his family, and he's like, "Oh, is this where you're going to show me my mom?" And I'm going to cry. And the cab driver says something to the effect,
Like
"You
Attila.
will, because I brought this other guy."
He's like,
and
I brought Attila the Hun or Genghis Khan or something.
Yeah, and he cried, and it's like, wow, this
Waterworks.
guy, this is his job.
Yeah.
Like, this is a profession. He just drives people around like a taxi cab and shows them their past. Like this Scrooge scenario, yeah, they just do this all the time.
Well, there's so many jokes I didn't catch till I watched it today. And like, there's a scene where Bill Murray is having dinner with his boss, and he sees the guy on fire. He keeps seeing this guy on fire in the restaurant, and no one else sees the guy on fire. So Bill Murray goes and throws water on him, and the guy's like, "What do you like?" He wasn't on fire. It was on Bill Murray's head, and Bill Murray says, "I thought you were Richard Pryor." And when I watched it as a kid, I never understood that joke. But as an adult, I know now that when Richard Pryor was high on crack, he lit himself on fire.
Oh.
Yeah, and he didn't realize it.
He didn't realize it.
So, Hot to Trot, he was not the horse. The name of the movie was Hot to Trot.
And he was the voice of the horse?
No, he was not. He was. I'm going to read you the synopsis. Real
Okay,
fast.
go.
I'm sorry,
I wanted to
I'm
hear
gonna
the
derail
synopsis
you.
to this movie, Hot to Trot.
Fred P. Cheney receives an inheritance after the death of his mother, a speaking horse that also has good knowledge about the stock market. With the help of this horse, Fred gains a lot at the stock market of Chicago.
What year was this movie made? The 80s.
Yeah, it was 88.
Everyone in Hollywood had so much cocaine up their nose in the 80s that they just said yes to everything.
Was he a voice in a Disney movie?
He'd have to be. I mean, if Cheech Marin was the Chihuahua in Oliver and Company, I'm sure Bobcat Goldthwait could get a gig. Yeah, man. But I fucking love this movie. The staples on the mouse reindeer. I remember that for all of time.
I forgot about that.
Brian Doyle Murray doing another cameo. Anytime Bill Murray has a movie, Brian Doyle Murray will be in it. Brian Doyle Murray plays Bill Murray's dad in this. And then he's also the guy that gets choking in Groundhog Day that Bill Murray comes and saves. And what's funny is that like they're going to the flashback and you see his dad and he brings him for Christmas, he brings him veal. And it's like,
that's right.
And he's all upset and he's like, oh, this is good. And then later on, whenever he's talking to Karen Allen's character and she's like, oh, we always open one present before Christmas. And he's like, yeah, we did too because it would go bad. So it was a good throwback to that moment. I never caught that as a kid.
What was the name of the actress who was the ghost of past?
You mean the present?
The chick from Twin Peaks?
Oh, present, yeah. Who was the present?
I was thinking from Taxi.
No,
I can't remember
who was the
the
fairy?
No, that girl, she's from Twin Peaks. She's the she's
Taxi.
Carol.
she talks in such a weird voice.
Isn't she the same woman from Princess Bride?
I think so. Yes.
She's Billy Crystal's wife.
Yeah.
I read that I guess in one of those scenes where she's interacting with Bill Murray that she actually hurt him and they had to stop filming for several days because she like split his lip and cut his mouth open so bad.
That might be
my
my most
God.
like as a kid. That was the most memorable part of the movie was how much she kept hitting him because that's just hilarious as a kid.
Well,
And how much he threatened her and how violent he was. And you wonder, like, I don't know if people can get away with that today.
I love seeing people watch this movie, and I see like, you know what's weird is that I always pick a movie of the week, or we do here on Screenplay, and then that week on Reddit Movies, I always see someone be like, I just watched this week. Let's talk about it. So I'm like, I know you're watching the podcast, but someone said, I watched Scrooged this week for the first time ever, and is it just me, or is Bill Murray just totally phoning in like his performance? I was like, no, dude, he's great in this movie.
What I read is that he actually did not get along with Richard Donner at all. That they hated each other.
Really?
And he said the only bad part of making the movie was every second they were making the movie.
Wow.
And, that Richard Donner's only directions to him were constantly louder, and he thought that Richard Donner has a hearing problem.
Wow, that is awful to hear.
Yeah.
Because he just used that animosity for his character.
But that being said, I think he does a good job.
Such a good job
playing that character.
Yeah.
I think it's actually a good performance.
The only thing that stood out to me this time I watched it versus the other times is when Bill Murray stops the show at the end of the movie and he gives his long speech. And I think it's because in the TV versions, they probably cut that down because it's so long. But it's so meandering and it's so absurd. It's hard for me to believe that people are really buying into it and being moved because it still sounds like he's crazy. And obviously it's a movie, nothing's believable, but this is like his big emotional moment. And I just imagine that he improv'd a lot of stuff and he was just saying what's in his head. And like very little of it makes sense and he just rambles. But like everybody gets so into it. So that was, it's not a negative thing, but it was the one, at some point I was like, what the fuck are you saying?
Yeah, seems weird.
Did you like it, Gus?
No, I love the movie. I love Scrooge. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. In fact, I hadn't seen it, I think, for like 10 years before you brought it up and you asked me to be on here. I was like, oh, it's a good excuse to go back and watch it. And I forgot how awesome that movie is.
Dude, I seriously just got to watch it before we did the show, and I fucking love this movie. And, you know, there's a part of me that's so like, I feel like I feel a little bit of myself in Bill Murray's character, like, you know, like just saying, family, I'm sorry, I'm working all the time, you know. But there was a part of me that was so happy to be in this industry because as a kid, I watched this movie all the time and see the people in the broadcast center and the TVs and telling people to cut and working on sets and stuff. And I was like, when I watched this movie again, I was like kind of super excited and proud to be like, I work in this industry. And as a kid, I used to like look at this and be like, wow, this looks so cool.
I have a Star Wars reference.
What's it?
They do a really funny Return of the Jedi type scene where Bill Murray is like celebrating the end of the movie. Everyone's happy. And then he looks off to the side and like all three ghosts are like dancing like in the corner, like, you know, when Luke turned and he saw Obi-Wan and Yoda and I don't know who the fuck else. And like even like the ghouls, like
Anakin.
Yeah, the ghouls are singing.
I said Vader, right?
Yeah, no,
Vader,
You said
Anakin.
you said Obi-Wan and Yoda.
Well, the ghouls are
The
singing.
ghouls like inside the Ghost of Christmas Future are like dancing and stuff, and that was terrifying. Like visually, that and the Marley character, I don't remember his name in the movie, but the one who's based off Marley, were so scary. And like the makeup and practical effects were so good. And
Didn't something come out of the back of his head with like the mouse?
Yeah, that was Walter at the
ball.
beginning. Yeah. Well, I enjoyed this movie. I know you and Chris and Blaine, who are usual guests on here, they like when they think of a Christmas movie, they think of Die Hard. When I think of a Christmas movie, I think of Scrooge. Like that is my fucking jam.
No, I'm with you on that.
I love that movie. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. If you've not seen it, There's still a chance. Go check it out. It's a great thing to watch with the family on Christmas if your family's cool.
Especially
Also,
little ones.
Muppet Christmas Carol. I think that's the best rendition of the Christmas Carol I've ever seen.
I could see that.
Michael Caine.
I'm in agreement on
Kermit.
that one.
I could see that. Yeah, Patrick's agreeing with you. All right, so now we
We're
pick our movie
Marley
of the
and
week.
Marley.
We're picking one for next week. You know what? I had a bunch. Do you guys have any suggestions? Anything that you've seen on either Netflix on the web that you think would be good for
they
Christmas?
just recently, added. I don't think it's necessarily good for Christmas, but they just recently added Wolf of Wall Street on
I
Netflix.
saw that. Can we pick that, please?
John,
It's your show.
John, can we make the kids watch The Wolf of Wall Street?
No.
All right, next week, watch The Wolf of Wall Street and watch it with your parents.
Why is everyone looking at me for that one?
There's nothing like watching Leonardo DiCaprio snort cocaine off a hooker's ass, like looking at your mom and giving her a wink.
It's like Christmas.
There
You
you
see
go.
the chick who's gonna play Harley Quinn.
Oh, that's right. And the chick that plays Harley
I
Quinn
think
is in
you
that
said
movie.
Jonah
Chick.
Hill's
I said
penis.
chick. I'm
There
so
you go.
sorry.
Yeah.
Which I will say too, best
his
actor
fault.
should have won it.
I blame JJ that I said chick.
There you go. You totally JJ that up.
Best
All right,
supporting.
guys. Thanks for joining us. You guys have a really great holiday, and we'll see you guys here next time.
Merry
right on Screenplay.
holidays.